For this week's Sewing Bee Pattern Challenge, we had an interesting collar that I have been asked to explain. So we have an upper collar, an under collar, and a collar stand. Now the upper collar and the under collar are very phonetically different. There is a 2mm difference around the edge to help the seam pull to the inside. That is all that's different. They're actually very hard to tell apart once you've cut them out of their fabric. So in order to sew this collar together, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add one collar stand to the upper collar and one collar stand to the under collar. So we're going to unfold it and pin the two together, matching our centers, matching our raw edges. Often there would also be some notches to help you not attach the neck edge there. And then we're going to repeat this with the other one before stitching those two seams. And now you can really clearly see just what difference that curve is making because of the way the pattern pieces have been drawn. It's already creating a lift. So now we're just going to attach our two collars together. Now, as we've discussed, my blue collar is smaller than the pink one, which means I have got to stretch and force those raw edges to meet each other in order to sew this correctly. You do not want to allow the raw edges to slip away from each other. You've got to keep them together in order for this to work. So we're going to sew round the three edges, leaving it open where that collar stand is, and then we're going to give it a trim really hard into the corners before turning it round. And it's at this point that it's clear why the two pieces are different sizes. You can see that seam is beautifully pulling onto the inside of the undercollar so that you wouldn't be able to see it on the edge when you were wearing the garment.
And then we have our Sewing Bee collar, not attached to anything. However, in order to try and explain what this does on the body and why we have this piece here, I've made a couple of other collars to try and help me explain. And I will start by showing you what is traditionally a men's shirt collar, because this is standing up at the neck all the way around. And the reason for that is because it has a collar stand. What this is doing by having these two pieces is you get this lift all the way around. This pin is where a button would be at the front. And it means that you get this slightly more formal finish on your collar. Now, in contrast to that, we have the flat collar that doesn't have a collar stand at all. And it just goes on like this, and it would attach on at the neckline. It sits completely flat. It's not going up the neck at all. Now, why that's relevant is because with this Sewing Bee collar, this is a partial collar stand. As you can see, it lifts it up at the back, so you're getting the lift of a formal collar at the back, but it is sitting flatter at the front. So you get a halfway house between the two. So you can see this one is sitting totally flat. This one has lifted up in the back, and that's what that little curve section that we attached in is doing.